By 12 noon Eastern tomorrow, we're going to know if Ireland has made history as the first country in the world to legalize gay marriage by a nationwide popular vote. Now, heading into the referendum, the news looks very promising for those who support marriage equality. Polls released on Sunday showed that 69% of voters in Ireland were expected to vote yes on this referendum. Of course, as is the case with any election, turnout is key, especially in a country known to be historically conservative and where more than 80% of the population identify themselves as Catholic. What we can tell you is that turnout does appear to be through the roof. Multiple sources telling NBC News that more people voted in this referendum than in any other referendum in Ireland in the last 3 decades. In fact, this could be the largest turnout in history. In the last few weeks alone, more than 60,000 people have registered to vote. And what is probably most encouraging for gay marriage supporters is that one of the groups that seems to be turning out in big numbers is young voters. Young voters were noted across the country with queues or lines reaching outside the door at several polling stations during rush hour periods. And they weren't just coming from local towns and villages. Voting is only allowed in Ireland, so people traveled from around the world to make their voices heard. This week, they've returned home in droves to cast their ballots in person. Like many others, these people traveled by boat from the UK. This woman, she returned home to Ireland from Sweden. And not to be outdone, we have another voter from Abu Dhabi. And this gentleman, who came more than 10,000 miles to vote, came from Australia. On social media, people are tweeting about their return back from San Francisco to Germany to Thailand, even Kenya, all to be part of history in a country where just 2 decades ago, homosexuality was a crime. Now we will wait to see if history has been made by the voters in Ireland. We should know in just a few hours. And joining us now is Pádraig Halpin, Reuters chief correspondent in Ireland. He joins us tonight by Skype from Dublin. Pádraig, thank you for taking some time. Well, let me start in this issue. It's interesting to watch an election in Ireland because it's different than the United States in that as soon as the polls close in the United States, we get a wave of exit polls. We have all sorts of projections. We get numbers coming in right away. A little different in Ireland. The polls are already closed. We still don't know. What's the process? When do we find out?
Yeah, so the polls closed in Ireland about 2 hours ago. The counting doesn't begin till the morning, so we go to bed, we get up, and there will be initial indications an hour or two into the count. I think the key takeaway tonight is, like you pointed out, that the turnout is very high. The turnout appears to be above 60%, which would be one of the highest in recent referendums. And the key again is that among that turnout is a big turnout in urban areas, a big turnout among young people. And in fact, a prominent no campaigner, one of the few members of parliament who is backing a no vote, told voters tonight that indeed the high turnout among young voters would tend to favour the yes vote. So as it stands, it does look like there's quite a good chance that Ireland will become the first country to legalise same-sex marriage in a referendum.
So we say in the introduction, 20 years ago in Ireland, homosexuality is considered a crime. Now you're in a situation where it may very well be the case that voters there are legalizing gay marriage. We talk so much in this country about how quickly attitudes have changed on homosexuality and gay marriage in particular just in the last 10 years or so. Can you talk a little bit about that transformation in Ireland, a very Catholic country? Certainly in the United States, we look at and we think of it as maybe a culturally conservative country. What's that transformation been like in terms of public opinion there?
Yeah, there's been a sea change in society in Ireland in the last 20 years. Like you pointed out, homosexuality was only decriminalised in 1993. We only voted by referendum to legalise divorce in 1995. One thing that's happened is the Catholic Church's previous control over Ireland. That's diminished, most notably in the last decade or two. Quite a number of clerical abuse stories. Just society has moved along quite quickly, and I think whatever the result tomorrow, there's been quite a very mature, very engaged debate in this issue, which I think many commentators would have said would have been impossible 10 years ago.
And in terms of, I'm just curious too, all these stories of people coming from around the world to vote in Ireland, how exactly did this work in terms of the rules? Who was eligible who does not live in Ireland right now to come in and vote?
So you're eligible if you have only left the country within the last 18 months and you intend to return. So within that cohort, there will be quite a number of young immigrants who've left the country to find work. Obviously, unemployment is still quite high in Ireland following a financial crisis. So those people are eligible to vote. Also, some people, their names may not have fallen off the register, which I think, strictly speaking, maybe they shouldn't come home to vote, but their names are still there. And as you've seen on social media today, people have come back from all over the world. It's really taken over Twitter, and it may have an impact tomorrow.
All right, Padraig Halpin, Reuters chief correspondent in Ireland. We will wait and see what the result is, along with the rest of the world. Thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate it.